TradFi institutions are pouring into crypto and blockchain at the fastest rate ever. They're launching tokenized funds, real-world assets, using stablecoins, and more. And in today's video, I'm going to give an update on a chain that's been building specifically for finance for more than half a decade. It's Injective, and I've talked about Injective before on this channel. However, they've done a lot of cool things recently, and it warrants another video. Additionally, I have an exciting announcement related to this channel and Injective, so watch the full video to see that. Now let's get into it. To start, let's recap some of the features about Injective that make it a powerful blockchain. It has no MEV, no gas fees on their main hub, automated smart contracts. It's compatible with both Ethereum and Solana. It has the world's first real-world asset module. It has a unified liquidity hub that other applications can tap into. On-chain stocks, bonds, and ETFs. We're going to talk about that more in a few minutes because that's one of the exciting new updates they have. They have both a WASM and EVM layer, meaning that both applications from Cosmos as well as from the Ethereum ecosystem can easily deploy onto Injective. And it's purpose built for finance. Now this post is made by Injective, so they added some fun things into it. But let's talk about some of the cool things that Injective has announced recently that got me interested in it. Again, for one thing, Deutsche Telekom, a subsidiary of one of Europe's largest telecommunications companies, has become a validator for Injective. This is from Cointelegraph. So you've got a major telecom company is now getting into the validator space on Injective. So that is a sign that they've got some buy-in from larger non-crypto native companies like that. They're also building some interesting things related to tokenized GPU compute. They're partnering with Ether Cloud to launch a new initiative that tokenizes GPU compute resources. This is interesting because this ties into decentralized physical infrastructure, which is also an emergent narrative. It also ties into AI through GPU compute. GPUs, of course, being one of the most valuable resources in the world at the moment. NVIDIA is or was the most valuable company in the world. They've also done other AI-related applications are also launching on Injective. Recently, they hosted an AI agent hackathon that over 250 people participated in. And they're doing a lot for real-world assets. And I think all of these are big, right? AI is big, DePIN is big. But real-world assets, I think, are going to be one of the emergent narratives of 2025. Just all the stars are aligning for institutions to start bringing traditional assets on chain in a major way. You've got equities coming on chain, bonds, real estate, commodities, private credit, more traditionally illiquid assets like IP, and you've got a ton of traditional finance players talking about doing this, right? You have the CEO of BlackRock talking about how they're going to tokenize huge numbers of stocks, and if you actually look at the numbers, it backs it up. Total real world assets tokenized on chain just broke $10 billion, not even including stablecoins. Stablecoins are growing even faster. Stablecoins are over $230 billion at this point. Even as the market's been chopping, they're adding billions of dollars a week in total stablecoin supply. So I think that blockchains that are prepared for this new reality where we're getting regulatory clarity, banks, funds, other TradFi institutions are suddenly realizing that this transition from analog to digital is happening, and billions, if not trillions of dollars of assets are going to be tokenized and moved on chain. Blockchains that have built for that, they're going to suddenly see a huge influx of capital. And what I like about Injective is that they are one of the chains that's been building that for a while. And you can see that just over the past few weeks, they've released tokenized versions of a number of stocks on chain as well as perpetual futures. So they've got perps on NVIDIA, Hood, McDonald's, and Tesla. And I think McDonald's was kind of a meme because they always say crypto traders go to work at McDonald's during a bear market. And now it should be noted that, perps are different than actually having the stock on chain. But the fact of the matter is that Injective is building for a world where people trade assets like that 24/7 on chain. And if you look at the social data from Lunar Crush, then you can see that Injective is one of the top chains for mentions of real world assets on socials right now, only behind Link, AVAX, and HBAR. And there are some signs that the network is starting to gain traction. If you look at total value locked in Injective's DeFi ecosystem in terms of the INJ token, so in terms of the native token of the network, you can see that it's been on a steady uptrend since late 2023. And it's also worth noting that a solid majority of the protocols on Injective are not counted in total chain TVL for the simple reason that they redeposit or tap into liquidity elsewhere. And that gets into another point that's important to consider when looking at any stats related to Injective. This is a paper that they published, but it relates to liquidity availability and network level isolation and intra application constraints. And it's quite text heavy, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But basically, the gist of it is that because Injective has this unified liquidity hub that other applications can tap into, just looking at the total number, the total amount of TVL isn't necessarily always reflective of the actual liquidity available, because you could have other applications where some liquidity is on a lending market, some is on a DEX, some is on a different DEX, some, there might be multiple pools on a DEX, whereas on Injective, it exists, most liquidity exists within their native hub that other applications can tap into. And I'm a big TVL guy, right? I work for DeFi Llama, but I do understand their argument here that the actual available liquidity is higher than you would expect based on this TVL. If you look at network stats in terms of trading, then you can see that their spot and derivatives markets are both putting in numbers in the billions of dollars, with tens of millions of dollars being traded even on a bad day. And then what I think is also really important to note, especially with the market being how it has been recently, is that the token's existed for nearly 5 years now, and it's in circulation. You don't have seed round investors who are waiting to dump on you, right? They already unlocked a long time ago, and the token had an incredible run up in that period or following that period. So people who are going to sell as it went up, they for the most part have already had a chance to, and you can see 100% is already unlocked. And in fact, I'm so excited about what Injective is building that I decided to launch my own validator for the Injective network. I partnered with an operator that already has one of the top best performing Injective validators so that I can make sure that everything is done correctly. When I first started Dynamo DeFi almost 4 years ago, initially I was just making tutorials about how to use different DeFi applications. The videos were very low quality, if I'm being honest. But over time, I've made the videos better, and my mission for this channel, my newsletter, all the content that I put out related to DeFi is to make the best educational resources possible to onboard people to DeFi. And as it's grown, I've realized that part of onboarding people to DeFi is more than just creating educational resources. And one step in that direction is the launch of this new validator service. You can see the validator here. We're already in the active set. So if you're staking Injective and you were to redelegate to this, you would continue earning rewards. We have 5% commission, which is very competitive, and uptime is around 99% at the moment. We've been live for over a week at this point, so to make sure that everything is working properly before I actually tell you, my beloved audience, about it. So if you're holding Injective, staking with Injective, and you want to support the channel, then I encourage you to do so through the Dynamo DeFi validator. I'll link it down in the description. I've got a ton more content related to real world assets and the real uses of DeFi coming up on this channel in the near future. So if you want to see that, be sure to like this video and subscribe. Till next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.